Good afternoon. Hope you had a great Memorial Day weekend. By the way, time to get back to work, do something. You've probably been off for about 5 days. You know, the Memorial Day weekend used to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You left a little early on Friday. Now I got people leaving on Wednesday, which is just complete bullshit. I'm with somebody though. I don't want to lose any of the time. This is a guy I do not like. I love him. It's very rare that I pick up a book that has an effect that his first book had, which was Living with a Navy SEAL. Now, Living with the Monks, I am sure 100% is going to be another mover, which means move off your butt and do something. Jesse Itzler, a friend. We've been on the same team at Duke Camp. We've sat next to each other for season tickets at Yankee Stadium, Marquee Jets, Alphabet City. You are the consummate entrepreneur. Love what you... Even when you have it going, you don't change, which is real. What I love about you is doesn't matter wealth, this, that, you don't change.
Thank you.
So thanks for coming up. We still talk about
you don't change. You just get thinner.
I'm trying.
You get thinner.
Man. I'm trying to maybe one day go back to Duke Camp and actually play well. But I love, and we still talk about when you came up with the SEAL. It got everybody crazy. And the reason I want to tell you why Living with a Navy SEAL is a must-buy, and this book is a must-buy, is because it gets you thinking like you, besides the thinking, the laughing.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I can stop thinking to laugh because it was just so funny. But yet I realized that the SEAL book was like, Brandon, you're bullshit. You could do more.
Yeah.
You can do more for people. You can take care of the people that matter to you the most more. And you can take care of yourself more. And that's what I got the feeling this book is going to give me a better perspective too.
I hope so. I went and lived with 8 monks that have 4 of which have been on this monastery for 50 years. And I just found myself, I'm a father of 4 kids under 8. I work, I have a business. I'm an adrenaline junkie. And I just found myself, really distracted. Phone, this, that. I was just super distracted. And I just felt like, all right, how do I get rid of some of this distraction in my life to accomplish more? And, I'm attached to my phone just like all of us. And I said, I'm going to go to the masters. Who are the masters in this space? If you're going to go for financial advice, you go to Buffett. You want this kind of advice, you go sort out the monks.
Did you want spiritual advice or did you want a certain kind of wisdom that you're looking for?
You know what? I just felt like I'd heard so much about monks. Never really knew what a monk was or what a monk did. I just heard like these guys seem to be super present. They seem to be very happy. They seem to have it all together on some level. And if I could just take some of that wisdom and apply it to my everyday life, then maybe my life would be better. I could be a better husband, a better father, more present with my employees and this and that. But I had no expectation. It was like, let me go experience and see what comes of it.
And first of all, what was the most shocking thing? I mean, you went actually living in a monastery, or
one of the most shocking things where I thought there would be like a village of monks, like 80 monks, but there were 8. So that was super surprising. Right away, I'm like, there's only 80 of you guys? I'd be like, where are all the other monks hiding? That was surprising. And then I thought it was going to be all silent, spiritual, religious, and that was probably only 4 hours a day of the day. The rest of the day is like they have to keep the lights on like anybody else. So there was a tremendous amount of manual labor. And the monks that I lived with were Russian Orthodox, so they weren't Buddhist. And I had shaved my head. I was all ready for the whole thing, and then I show up and I'm like, whoa, this is not what I thought it was going to be. But it was an interesting experience.
What's the big takeaway in this book that when somebody reads it, what do you think the most important thing is?
I think there's a lot of takeaways. I mean, I kind of designed it so at the end there are 10 really specific kind of life lessons. But I'll tell you, for me, one of the big takeaways, which I didn't even expect to happen, and there were so many. I could start anywhere. But I went for 15 days. And around the first 7 days, I completely convinced myself that like I was going home after 7 days. I'm like, 7 days is enough. That's a week. No one's going to be like, oh, you only went for a week. Like, that's enough time. And I was shortchanging the experience. I was giving myself an out. And I realized that a lot of things that I do in my life and with my kids, I give myself an early out. For example, even happened today. My son is going to a new camp. I said to him, try it for a week. If you don't like it, after a week, we'll do something else. I've already planted a seed in his head that it's okay not to like it. Like, I've already given him an excuse in and out. It's a mistake. But even in my own life, I'm in the marathon. It doesn't matter how fast I run the marathon. I signed up for the marathon. Like, is that enough? So the first 7 days, I'm like, I'll go home in 2 days. I can always get out of here, this and that. Once I convinced myself that I'm burning the boat, I'm in this, no excuses.
Don't turn back.
Like I'm not going to negotiate with my goal. Like, I've been negotiating sometimes with my goal. And the time in my life where I'm most successful, there's no negotiation. You're running 100 miles, Jesse. There's not, even if someone pats you on the back, it's a great job. You made it to 97. That's something to be proud of. No, it's not. My goal was 100. My goal was 15 days. And once I realized, like, man, I'm in it, I'm staying, the whole experience shifted. And like, it was like I put down my guard and I started to experience, I said to myself, if I have a chance to talk to each of the monks, why do I want to go to my room and take a nap? Like, time's not going anywhere. I'm here. There is no out. So let me experience this to the fullest. And then the whole experience changed me.
How many days did you end up staying, by the way?
I stayed for 15.
Wow.
It was hard, man.
Why? What was hard?
Just being, first of all, having no contact with my family. None.
Not a call?
I had one call. One call with my wife. No phone. I had a phone to take pictures and video, but no phone, no internet,
no emailing.
It was like there was like a cyber attack on this place. There was you couldn't break through anything. No.
Oh my God.
So there was no phone and no idea what was going on in the real world. No idea if my kids were safe, if they were upset, if they were happy, and it was interesting. So that was super hard, and then also just the element of time, like. I had my relationship with time was so out of whack. We talk about relationships with people, but like your relationship with time and how much time you have left and how you spend your time. And, I'm turning 50, and if I live to 80 and I have 30 more years, I hope I live longer. Like, who do I want to spend that time with, and what do I love to do? And I want to put more of that on my plate. And just all those thoughts are going through because you're fucking alone. I'm sitting in a room, there's no one to talk to. And like it was just amazing. And because I think the average American makes like 35,000 decisions a day. I read something like that, 35 to 50,000 decisions. Just think about you today, like what socks should I wear? What station should I listen to? What shirt do I mean? Those are decisions you're conscious, but subconsciously. Why'd you put the book like this? And what
Should I call this one? Not call this.
It's
one.
exhausting.
Eat, not eat.
At the monastery, all the decisions are taken away from you. So if they tell you when to eat, here's what we're serving, here's where you're going to be for prayer, you wear one outfit, I showered once, I never changed. When you have no decisions and your head isn't like bombarded with like, I got to get this guy a birthday present from my son, I got to drive here, and what time do I have to be at Steiner, and what if I fuck up the interview, all that stuff. When you eliminate all that, you have so much energy. So by like day 6, I was so efficient in my thoughts and so efficient in like everything that I did at the monastery that I realized that, man, I'm overloaded. Like, I'm radically overloaded in my life, and I got to make changes.
Well, any changes particularly you make? What's the first change you made when you got back?
I started saying no. I said, I literally put my life into 4 buckets: business, wellness, family, and relationships. If it's not moving the needle in my business, with my family, with my relationships, or my wellness, my health, it's a waste of my time. And that's the way I approach it. And 90% of my decisions are made on those 4 buckets of my life. To me, someone saying, hey, Jess, can you have a lunch meeting with me? I want to pick your brain. Hey, Brandon, you take them once in a while, but you start overloading it. It doesn't stop. And then you realize you take an hour of those a day, what's an hour a day? At the end of 5 or 10 years, time is cumulative. At the end of 10 years, you lost a year of your life.
Taking
know,
some
like
meetings, some roads,
yeah, like
yeah,
doing other
right.
shit. So
So it's the F word, focus.
focus, prioritize, and I just started really putting, like I said a minute ago, putting things on my plate that I love to do with the people I love to do them with, and that's become like a really big. And you've always lived, a big part of you have great balance. You've always prioritized Little League, and we've spoken about you getting on flights to go home for your kids, and I do the same thing. But even just the smaller things, like it's just so important. So, and also it alleviates a lot of distraction when you do that. When
You get a lot of opportunities. I think with some success, right, comes opportunities, but then comes responsibilities. And it is really hard to say no, because things that you never dreamt of, being able to go to, people you get to hang out with, but as you say yes to that, it's ultimately taken away from something else that may be more significant and important.
It's true, but as you get older, I mean, not that we're 90-year-old guys, and at the end, but at least for me, like I said, the one radical shift in my life has been my relationship with time. And I'm very aware that the average American lives to be 78. I'm turning 50, so if I'm average, I got 28 years left. And when you start to reverse engineer your life and say, okay, 20, 30 years, and by the way, I just climbed Mount Washington. I love to, I'm love to be outdoors. I didn't see any 70-year-olds climbing Mount Washington.
No.
Your relevant years, your active years, like we're talking about 10, 15 years, and every day it shrinks significantly.
You're in the third quarter of a basketball game. You just finished halftime. You reset. You're in the locker room. You start realizing, wait a minute, you're the Golden State Warriors. You need to start coming out where there's no more time to waste.
I feel like I took a B12 shot at halftime, though. I'm energized for the second half, but I'm aware that I need a big second half, and so it's just created a different lifestyle for me. It's created urgency. I don't really put things off if I want to do it, even if it's not fully baked. I start the process. When I was younger, maybe it had to be the right time, or I wanted to. Now it's just like, okay, you want to do it this weekend, sweetie? Let's go. We're gonna plan it and go in, next Christmas. I'm like, let's go in a week. So that's really been, urgency has been a big theme, and I don't know if it all came from the monastery, but maybe it comes with getting a little bit older. Maybe it comes with having kids, but you live your life differently in the third quarter than you do in the first quarter.
As we see, sports and kind of life kind of sometimes work similarly, and there's nothing like the urgency of a team in a game 7 or just whatever game you want to be playing. How do you create urgency? How do you go get your momentum and do what you do best right now?
Right.
And that's what I love about when I watch a basketball or football game. The great teams can go and reset after a timeout. I always watch a team after a timeout. I watch a team after a half. Because it's just, can you take a breath? Can you reset? Because that's ultimately what we're doing all the time. I'm trying to do that up here at Steiner. But I'm just doing that recently. I'm just thinking, wait a minute, why am I even doing that? I was thinking about a couple of things I do recently. Like, why am I even doing that on a Saturday? Why? I'm watching. I love college basketball. I'm sitting home watching Saturday afternoon college basketball all day.
But it's fascinating because guys like you, you've had so much success. You're an author, you're a business owner, you've sold businesses, you bought businesses, and you don't have to work, but you still constantly not just try to be the best version of you can at work, but now you have this broadcast that you're doing. You have a blog that's blown up to massive proportions. You're an influencer. You have speeches. So, and in a similar way.
Yeah, I've watched you do the same.
Similar. But I think the reason why we choose to do this in the third quarter, you tell me if I'm right or wrong, is A, you like it, but B, you're trying to be you don't want to live life like this. You want to keep going up, and you just keep getting better and doing new stuff and learning, and so.
I think it's significance for success, though. I think for me, and I think you too. I think you get and I've watched you from afar too. You get a tremendous joy out of helping people, seeing other people succeed. I get tremendous joy out of sharing some of the things I've been able to learn along the way.
Yeah.
Selfishly speaking, I enjoy watching somebody else be successful off of a couple tools I've given them. I want to be more significant. I want to be some of the things that I've put together and managed to do. I like them to be remembered also, and I like them to stick. I was in it more for the money grab. There's more than that for me.
Yeah.
And it's the people grab. It's the relationship grab for me. I love the relationships. I've always have. And I think the moral of the story is, I think you got to do as much good as you can. And from doing good, you end up doing well too. I think most people are so focused on doing well. And then when they do it, and it gets back to your time management, it's like when you do well, well, then I'll do good. You know, I'm going to go run, I'll get exercise, I'll eat well. Let me just get done with this quarter and the earnings, and then I'll get.
What's the old adage?
Yeah.
Do good, feel good.
Yeah. And I think also do good, and you'll do well too. And do good for yourself as well as the people around you. And you'd be surprised the byproduct of that ends up being you do well too. You'd be surprised how the money and the success and the other stuff finds you when you find good in your spiritual guidance, or you find good in your health, or most importantly, the good in your family, or good in helping others.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how many people do so well successfully, and they can't find the doing good for their family even, or even for themselves. And they just burn themselves to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Easy.
There's so many ways to define doing well and this and that. My wife always says that you find your purpose at the intersection of what it is you love to do, what you're good at, and providing something positive to the world. And when those three intersections collide, you've really found your purpose. But in thinking of that, and I think she's right, the third part's so important. You know what I mean? Like if I was making $1 billion selling, tobacco, it wouldn't.
In the world is.
It wouldn't. And people are getting sick or whatever. I have $1 billion. It wouldn't make me feel good about that. So, you have to do something you really are passionate about and passionate about the process.
The doing good is I think there's. Listen. I think you could do a lot of good, and monetize and do well and make money. There's nothing wrong with it. I just think people put too much emphasis on the one pillar. You mentioned the 4 pillars: your business, your family. But it's like people put so much overemphasis on the business and not enough emphasis on the others. And I'm all about it. I mean, I'll stay till 2 a.m. if I can go make a buck. I don't have a problem with it. I like making money. I'm chasing it. But I'll also fly home or go somewhere to go see my kid in some ridiculous way because I want to go see him in a concert. I want to go see him play in a baseball game, whatever. In the same kind of passion or authenticity. And I just think people need to put that in perspective. In the same way with religion, like I missed World Series games. I'll never forget this. Back in 2003, they were playing the Marlins, and it was a bar mitzvah on like game 3. And I was like, "You're missing the Yankee game?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm missing the Yankee game. You are in my community. You're my son's best friend. I wouldn't miss your bar mitzvah just to go to a World Series game." But it's amazing how many people would. And that's like the authenticity that drives me crazy. Like I'm like, there's always gonna be another game or always a money grab.
In the moment, when you're in the moment and the game is happening, and you're missing Game 7 or you're missing the World Series game, in the moment, in your small world, there's 7 billion people in the world, and probably the percentage that care about that is super small. But in your world, it's a big deal. 1 week later, it never happened. Like, do you care that the Dallas Mavericks won the championship 5 years? Like, this has never happened. Or that Alabama won this year. It's like, it's a big moment that day and that night or whatever. But in the scheme of things, it's not. And it's hard to, get past that. But, but for your kid, you're building something that lasts forever.
You only pull out that big game card so many times. I mean, was it not a big game every day for the last 2 weeks? I mean, how do you want to miss Game 7? Do you want to miss Game 6? Then you got you're gonna miss the draft. That was a big night.
So when I went to the monastery, I went during March Madness, and it was right before the NBA playoffs. So like the Hawks were in the hunt to either make the playoffs or not make the playoffs, and I couldn't watch any of the Hawk games. I couldn't watch any of the Final Four.
No TV.
No, there was nothing. So I had no access. I didn't even know who won. I filled out the brackets. I didn't even know if I was going to win my tournament bracket. I had no idea. And what I realized was, and I watched March Madness like religiously with my friend. I mean, it's like a highlight. Oh, yeah. And here I am in my room imagining all my friends at the bar, and I'm in this room the size of this chair, and I'm looking at the walls. It's fucking quiet. And I'm like, who's winning the Duke game? Who's playing good? And
that'd be crazy.
when I got home, everyone said to me, the first thing everyone said to me is, what they would say to me, what did you miss the most? What did you miss the most when you were away? And the answer was, I missed my family, I missed my kids, I missed all the obvious things, but not one single person, and I've been in the course of a year, has asked me what I didn't miss. And the real question is, what didn't I miss? And I didn't miss the Final Four. I didn't miss the TV. I didn't miss going to Netflix and searching 20,000 titles. And when I realized how much time I spend on the things that I didn't miss in my life right now, and I eliminated them, the distractions went away because it allowed me to focus on the things that I did miss. It freed up a lot of time. So, but it's just amazing. What'd you miss? Oh, you must have missed. But no one asked me, what didn't you miss when you were there? Because I did not miss. There were so many things in the course of my regular life, on my day-to-day basis. Pinkberry, I didn't miss it. I love Pinkberry, but I didn't miss it. What my closet with all this shit hanging up. I didn't miss the 20 shirts that I wear once every 2 years. I didn't miss the second bicycle pump that I never used that's sitting in my garage. I didn't miss, all these things that you would think, like, when I'm home, I'm like, I can't get rid of this bike pump. What if I need this extra? What if this bike pump breaks? When's the last time you used your fucking other bike pump?
Never.
How many bike pumps? You probably have a garage in your house, probably fucking 10 bike pumps.
I'm still trying to get my new bike out of the box.
Exactly.
Which I'm not sure why I got that bike to begin with.
When you get rid of all that, man, it frees up those 4 main buckets: family, wellness, business, relationships. And you have more time to work on them.
If I called your wife, I said, what was the biggest change you noticed in Jesse since he went and spent some time with some monks? What would she say?
Better husband. I'm making that up. No, I think she would say I'm more present. I live in a world of to-do lists. When I went to the monastery, I was overwhelmed with to-do lists. My to-do list, and I would go as fast as I could to cross something off my list so I can get to the next thing and cross it off the list. I love the feeling of crossing shit off my list and have next list. But when I got to the monastery, I realized that if I lost my entire to-do list, that like my whole life, like all the 150 things that I need to do, life would go on. Like that list that's overwhelming me and really dominating me, if a tornado blew it away, my life goes on, man. And the important things I would figure out and they would get done. So she would say that I have I'm an adrenaline freak. I love challenges and newness. It's drastically gotten smaller.
You minimize things.
I've minimized things. I say no to things. And I'm putting, like I said earlier on when we started talking, I put a lot more things on my plate. Let me give you a better example. I'm turning 50, so my wife said to me,
this is a big birthday, man.
She said to me, this will be a good summary for this though. She said to me, what do you want to do for your 50th birthday? I said, well, for my 25th, which was a big monumental birthday, I had a big blowout party in New York. She said, well, think about how much you've done between that birthday party to now. And I said, well, relative what I want to do in my life, I've done a lot, but relative to what I want to do, I feel like I haven't done anything. I have so much I want to do. I mean, like, I'm one shot to live life. I want to do so much more. So she said, well, why don't you think about all the things you want to do, that you love to do, put as much of it on your plate with the people you love to do it with. And she's like, that's how you should spend the next 25 years of your life. And I looked her in the eye and I go, that's what I'm going to do. That's how I'm going to spend the next 25 years of my life.
I love that.
And if you were to ask her,
so on the money.
If you were to ask her, since I came home from the monastery, she would say I'm doing exactly that.
Wow.
And I feel like I am. You can hear it. You can see it. I'm like alive when I talk about it because, I feel great about it, man. It's like, who controls your time? You do. We all have the same 24 hours in a day.
And there is a limit to it.
I'm not going to let other people control my time because then I'm going to resent them or I'll just be very resentful about it. So, this whole notion of time she would say that I'm very, very aware of that. Yeah.
Book. Buy one book? No. 3 books? No. You need to buy 5 of these books. One for yourself, one for a friend, and then 3 people you know that need this book, which you won't have a hard time finding. Because I'm not a big fan of buying a book. You got to buy 5 of something like this. And I'm a big fan of this. I cannot believe how many copies of Living with Navy SEAL I've given out.
Thank you.
And how many lives I feel like I've changed. Because it's bullshit. Like, you get on the treadmill. I used to get on the treadmill or the elliptical. I'm doing 2.5 miles. I'm like, Brandon, are you kidding me? 2.5 miles on an elliptical? You might as well just go get an ice cream sundae. And not even managing my heart rate.
Right.
Now I'm like 6 miles on the elliptical with a high heart rate of 140, 150, and then
Right.
some. Whole nother feeling, whole nother game changer. You know, whenever I'm doing any of my workouts, I'm thinking about basically the gist of that book. You never really do as much as you think you could do. Because I'm thinking of the pull-ups when the guy comes to see you, and you can do those 100 pull-ups.
That's right.
And I'm thinking that, I'm like, the guy did 100 pull-ups. He hung in there. Sting was over there in the corner, and he still did the 100 pull-ups, which might be a little humiliating probably, right? But you made it funny, but it was probably a little tough.
A little tough.
And I'm like, that's bullshit. I'm like, but he hung in and did it, which is what it's all about.
Right. Right.
I'm figuring, and also the focus. And that's what I love about this book. I've been dying for this book. Because remember, we did the pod a few months ago. You're like, Brandon, I'm coming out with this new. I said, so we're going to meet again. We'll talk again. Because I've been dying to find out where this story takes you. Because I feel like the SEAL book, I had to go back and read it a second time because there was too many lessons that I may have missed with the laughing.
Yep. No, I appreciate it.
The book was funny.
It was.
And I'm thinking this book will be just as funny because I think the truth, the brilliance is just you, the blatant honesty with you.
Yeah.
Which is always been. When I see you on stage, whether I've been in an auction, I've seen you, you're an entertainer, rapper. The funny part about you is really just the truth of it all. Like you don't circumvent the truth, which is what makes the book so much fun to read.
Yeah.
Is because you're not trying to act like you're somebody you're not. You're just like, I couldn't do the 100 pull-ups. I don't know what I was gonna do.
You're one of my first friends, if not my first friend, to ever write a book. You sent me your first book,
Yeah.
the Balls book.
Yeah.
And I was like, I couldn't believe I had a friend that wrote a book, and like,
I'm half illiterate.
And I was like, and then when I realized that you were my friend that wrote the book, I'm like, Steiner, what?
Oh my God.
But what I loved about your book, I loved your book too. I love how you promoted it. I loved all the promotion around it. And that's why you were my first call when I put the book out. I don't know if you remember, but you gave me like a whole kind of playbook on ways to kind of,
I studied it.
Yeah.
I'm like that way with Little League. Like, I lost my first year in Little League so badly. I don't think we won a game. Now, granted, it was T-ball, but I'm like, I still wanted to win. I went and found the guy that won every year championship. Ended up being a high school coach. I sought him out. I said, how do you win? Right? What do you do? And ever since then, so now I won 3 championships in Little League because I love Little League.
What's the secret?
Get everybody involved, get everybody committed, and get the parents involved, and let them take a vote of whether they want to win and have fun. I said, who wants to win, who wants to have fun? Oh, you want to win? Well, not everybody can pitch, not everybody can just do whatever they want. Got to get the half hour away for practice, and the parents have to be bought in. My kid's got to be there half hour before. You voted on that. Like, I didn't. That's not me. Your kids wanted that.
I had a crazy experience I live in Atlanta, and swimming in Atlanta is it's like football in Alabama. You can't believe how intense swimming, man. These meets have these like country club meets. They have like 800 spectators because there's so many kids swimming. Their parents come and there's open bar. People get dressed up. It's like the Kentucky Derby.
Your son or your daughter's
all of them are involved, but
everybody's swimming.
I'm telling you, it's like football. But I've never been exposed to it, so I'm new to this thing. And the parents are getting super into the meets, like super, like they're cheering and full sweat going and yelling and da-da-da. So I'm getting, I'm engaged in the meet. So my son is swimming in the breaststroke medley. It's like so there's 4 kids on the team. So the 4 parents are all going nuts, and then the other teams are going nuts. My son's team is out in first place in this particular meet, and he's 8. There's all the yelling, this and that. The other kid, it's close though. It's close. The swim meet's like this is a lot of separation. The kid in the other team dives in a second behind my son and swims the wrong stroke for the first 3 strokes, and then goes into his breaststroke. Like swims like 2 strokes of freestyle, and then forgot what stroke to do.
Is that a problem?
but it's an immediate disqualification. But he's 8, and he gains all this speed, and they end up winning the race. I go crazy. I go over to the referee. There's 800 people there. I go over to the referee and I go, sir, not trying to, be causing any problems, but the kid in lane 3, he swam the freestyle during the breaststroke lane, thing. And all the parents are now yelling, whatever. And he goes, I didn't see it. I go, well, I happen to have filmed it. Because I was filming the meet. I'm like filming the meet. He's like, well, I didn't see it. I'm like, well, it's a disqualification. You can't swim. It's a breaststroke race. It's not a freestyle race. It's like
you became one of those parents.
So I'm going crazy, and then finally, and like all the parents are like now supporting me on this side. The other parents are yelling, "What are you doing?" And then finally, one of the parents says, "Sir, it's an 8-year-old country club swim meet." Which, immediately it diffused the whole thing. I'm like, you're right. You're right. But a rule's a rule. What are we teaching these kids here? I'm like,
in Brooklyn,
what are we doing?
I just want to explain one thing. Without all the parents and all the supervision, we would have done that race again.
Do it over.
It's a do-over.
Do it over. Get them on the right. Exactly.
Get back on that starting block.
I can relate to the Little League getting, the kids involved and the parenting, but no, I love it, man. I love it.
Good luck with this book, Living with the Monks. I guarantee you will love this book. And by the way, if you haven't picked up Living with Navy SEAL, pick that up too. Great Father's Day gift, to say the least. Because I get the feeling this book is for somebody a little older, but it could be for anyone.
Yeah.
Because you can't get enough perspective at a younger age to prepare yourself for what's going to happen inevitably, the way I look at it.
Yeah.
I tell a lot of younger people reading my stuff, my blogs and everything, like, a lot of that stuff may be pertaining to people who are older, but you can prepare. Good to know what you're about to get into maybe 10 or 15 years down the road. Great Father's Day gift. This and the SEAL book is a no-brainer. I can't wait to get my hands on this.
That's yours.
Finally, I've been looking forward to it. I couldn't put the SEAL book down.
Well, I can't wait to get your
My
feedback.
wife was in shock because usually, I'm ADHD. I read a few chapters, put it down.
Right.
Go back like everyone else, but that SEAL book didn't leave my side. Congratulations on all your success. If you haven't seen him speak, great speaker. And love I know you put together some symposiums every now and then.
Yeah.
Which hopefully I'm going to make one day.
I would love it.
Make sure I have the mental stamina, the strength, because there's nothing small in your game. Like it's 100 miles or the weekends of the fitness.
Oh yeah,
mountains.
Yeah.
I'm sure. So where do we find you? On
JesseItzler.com. JesseItzler.com.
It's worth it. You want to follow him, without a doubt. Pick up the book. By the way, don't buy one. I've mentioned this before. Buy 5. One for you, one for a friend, and 3 people you know.
You got to travel with me.
There's no because you're in for the right reasons. Your intent's great.
No, thank you.
Stuff is all good.
Thank you so much. No, I appreciate you having me, as always. Really good to see you.
He'll jump on if you got any questions for him. He'll jump on the Facebook page later and try to answer them. Till tomorrow or the next day. We'll see you soon. Ben, we have anything coming up?
We got Eli in 2 weeks at the stadium.
Also, you know who's coming on?
Tina Savasio.
And how about Gordon?
John Gordon. Yeah.
John Gordon from the Energy Bus is coming next week. You're going to love John. Another guy full of energy. You're going to love that. Anyway, in the meantime, don't wait till tomorrow. Go click on, buy the book, pre-order it right now. 5 copies. We'll see you soon. You have any questions, I'm always here for you. Love it, love it, love it. Have a great week. You got 4 days to make up for 5. As you already know, you did nothing yesterday, and you're on a slow pace today. Get going. Let's go. We'll see you again in a couple days for the next live. Take care. Thanks, Jess.
Thank you, Steiner. Appreciate it, man.